Hello class, welcome to our new unit. This is our third unit, Unit 11 though by the math standards, solving linear equations. You will recognize some of this from your earlier days in school where you're solving for a number you don't know. When you were younger, we used a box and you said, hey, think about what number plus 4 equals 12. And you might have used the count up method like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, it must be 8. Our goal here is by the end of the unit that you'll be able to solve one variable, in other words, one unknown, for these equations using addition or subtraction, multiplication, or division. When we do this, we are going to use the order of operations, PEMDAS, but we're actually going to do it the opposite. So SAD/MEP. We're going to start with subtract and add, and since these are all one step, we're just going to start simply by just doing the opposite. So you may want to put this do the opposite over here in your sidebar. I think I can do mine like that in my sidebar to remind myself. Then I'm going to do the opposite. When I see add, and I'm solving the equation, instead of using the count up method, I'm going to subtract. Or if I see subtract, I'm going to add. Same with multiplication and division, and we'll get to that more tomorrow. So in this problem, instead of using the count up, I could subtract 4 on both sides. And when I do 12 minus 4 in my calculator, I get an answer of 8. The next one, 6 subtract some number gives me 4. So I could count backwards, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I used 4 numbers, the answer is 2. Or I put in my calculator, 6 minus 4, and it gives me 2. Or if I use the do the opposite, which is what we want you to start using. So I take the 6, and because this is a positive 6, I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. I want to get 6 over to this side, so I have to eliminate it. Minus 6 is 0, so that goes away. 4 minus 6. Now since 4 is on the top, it goes into our calculator first. 4 minus 6 equals a negative 2. We can see that the minus is already there, so we're going to move over the 2. This is our answer. Negative, which is already there, and then 2. Let's try another one. 15 plus some number is 10. What? How do I go from a big 15 to a smaller 10 through addition? I need to subtract. Oh, I know. To move the 15, it's a positive 15, not because of that plus, but because there's nothing in front of the 15. So I have to do the opposite of 15, which is subtract 15 from both sides. 15 minus 15 is 0, so that goes away. I want to get the numbers over here. So I need 10 minus 15. Again, 10 is on top. It goes into our calculator first. I think of it like 10 up here, 0, I go down 10, then I got to go down 5 more, that's below 0. Answer is negative 5. Negative 5, since negatives are like subtraction. Let's look at one more. Ooh, this one looks tricky. 2 times what number is 36? Now I remember I gotta do the opposite. This says multiply. What's the opposite of multiply? That's right, divide. 2, 36. I'm not sure. So I'm going to divide this side by 2. I see. 18. Let me just double check my calculator. 2 times 18 is 36. Nice. Now I'm going to cover some vocab. First vocab word is equation. An equation is a mathematical sentence that uses a equals sign. Equations use equal signs. Our last unit, combining like terms, we didn't use an equal sign. So there we weren't solving for an unknown. We were just putting x's and non-x's with their like terms. But now we are solving. We're solving for the variable. So that brings up the question, what's a variable? A variable is a letter or symbol that represents something we don't know. We used to use boxes, but now we're going to use letters. Commonly, on this sheet, we're going to use X's, but they don't have to be X's. They could be G's or K's or L's or Y's or any letter. So, as I said at the beginning of this video, we are going to use PEMDAS, but we're going to use it in a special way. When we're combining like terms, we use parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding and subtraction in this order from left to right. But when we're solving, we're going to do these steps in reverse order or in the opposite direction. So we're going to start by going this way. 3 words we want to figure out. Another word for that is backwards. Back, opposite, or backwards, or another way to say it mathematically would be in the inverse order. So how are these different? Well, we're doing in the opposite, like the opposite of left is right, the opposite of up is down, the opposite of add is subtract, and the opposite of subtract is add. The opposite of multiply is divide. The opposite of divide is multiply. Those are inverse of each other. The inverse of light is dark. Backwards would mean we would start with subtraction and addition and then work our way across. But we're not going to do that yet. Those are for multiple steps. Right now, we just want you to know that when you see add to solve it, you are going to subtract. So the next piece here is what you do to one side of the equal sign. You must do to the other side. And I'll explain what that means. In order to keep the equation equal, or if you think of like a scale, balanced, if you put weight on this side, it's going to flip over unless you put the same amount of weight on this side, like a teeter-totter. It needs to stay balanced. So we could take like 2 people and put them on this side, but we need the same weight of 2 people on this side to keep it balanced. To illustrate this video, I'm now in an opposite location. How is it opposite? That's right, I'm now inside as opposed to outside. As I've moved inside, my inside cat, Max, may end up joining us. He's kind of trying to figure out what's going on here. Say hi, Max. Aww. Let's try a couple problems. This first one is addition. So I know that most of you can figure out what number plus 5 gives you 12. It probably pops right into your head, or you could easily come up with that answer. It's really important that we're cautious about this. Ms. Hoffman and I are giving you easy examples so you can think in your head and relate it. But our tendency then is to not listen to how we're doing it and just play the guessing game or the counting up game. We want you to see this mathematically simpler equation so that you can understand it and practice it. Because as we move on in this unit, they're not going to be ones you can count. We want you to get used to using your calculators to do the problem solving for you so that you can practice the steps of undoing a problem. Like if you have a knot in your shoe, The way to undo that knot is to start with the last part and work your way to the middle or to the end. Here we have an equation. Some people put a line right here to think of this as the teeter-totter. And I have a plus 5, and I need to do the inverse, or opposite of plus 5. And that's to subtract 5 on both sides. Minus 5, minus 5. That way, I'm moving the 5 and getting rid of it over here. And that's what we have here. It says SADMEP. That's the opposite of PEMDAS. We're doing PEMDAS in the SADMEP, or backwards order. So I'm going to get rid of my subtraction. 5 minus 5 is 0, and that's good. Here's my goal. I want to get letters on the left and numbers on the right. And when I've done that, I'll have found what x is. So what's 12 minus 5? No, don't guess. Again, use that calculator. The answer is 7. That's right. I bring down the equal sign, and I bring down the x. So I'll put that here. Now, is it right? Maybe. Should I move on? No, don't move on yet. In our current math situation, Unit 11 here, we can figure out if we get it correct right away by doing the problem forwards. So anytime we see that x, we'll put a 7 plus 5. When I put that into my calculator, does it work out to 12? Yes, so I know I got it right. So the answer is yes. So I'm going to circle 7 with a heart to set my work apart. I would like you to try this one, same way. You're going to move the 8 to the other side. In order to move it to the other side, you have to get rid of it here, which means you also have to get rid of it here. You try it, and let's see what you get. That's right, minus 8 on both sides. Now I could do 13 minus 8 by counting backwards, but I would rather have you use a calculator. Seriously, use that calculator. I'm still waiting. 5. Let's double check it. 5 plus 8. No, use the calculator. 13. Nice. Now I want to do the opposite of subtract. When we see subtract, we need to get x by itself. So the way to get rid of a 4 here is to put a positive 4. Negative 4 and positive 4 cancel out to be 0. I'm going to add 4 over here. So this is basically what I have written a lot neater. 7 plus 4 is 11. So x equals 11. So if I see an x, I'm going to put an 11. Where the x used to be, I'm going to put an 11. I need to double check my work. There's no reason to get any of these wrong. If you get it wrong when you double check, redo the problem. Double check your calculator. Make sure you've checked your marker board for your work. You should get all of these correct, as long as you follow the rule of doing the opposite. Try this one on your own. How are you going to move 6 to the other side? That's right. We're going to add 6 to this side. We're going to add 6 to this side. What happens over here? This actually becomes 0. So I put a big line through it. 12 plus 6. 18. X equals 18. How could I check this to see if it's correct? You should be asking yourself that question. How could I check it? That's right. We're going to put an 18 where the x was. 18. Then we put this into our calculator. 18 minus 6. Double check. Yes, it's 12. So I'm going to circle this with a heart to set my work apart. Tomorrow we'll continue with the last two examples of doing multiplication and division. Have a good day.